Hello, I'm glad you're here. I'm Dr. Kimberly Garver, member of the Department of Radiology at Michigan Medicine. I'm here on behalf of my wonderful colleagues, Dr. Catherine Maturin, an outstanding leader in our department and in the field of radiology, and Dr. Amy Young from the Ross Business School and Center for Positive Organizations at the University of Michigan. We were fortunate to have 3 undergraduate students assist us in this project, which was funded by a grant from the Michigan Medicine Wellness Office. This is a series of 16 short 10-minute modules based on the seminal book by Dr. Kim Cameron entitled Positively Energizing Leadership. Dr. Kim Cameron is one of the 3 founders of the Center for Positive Organizations, which is trying to change the world of work into a more life-affirming, humane place, while at the same time producing often dramatically higher performance. We have one introductory module that shares the principles of what positive, energizing leadership is and what it can do. The next 15 modules discuss one leadership attribute that was found across many different industries to be empirically validated to improve workplace well-being and performance. The great news is that each of these attributes and behaviors are easily accessible, can be learned, are free, and require no additional staff or resources. Today, we will be discussing the 8th attribute, to listen actively and empathetically. Let's get started. Positively energizing leaders listen actively and empathetically. They're really listening to fully understand what the other person is saying and not to prepare their response. In contrast, the de-energizing leader dominates the conversation and continues to assert their own ideas rather than really, truly listening. Positively energizing leaders are sincere in their desire to fully understand what the other person is saying. They ask a lot of open-ended questions. They talk openly and honestly, and demonstrate humility in being open to feedback rather than getting defensive. It's not an easy thing to do. De-energizing leaders are too quick to jump in and give quick advice. They fail to give the full attention to the person who's speaking and may be or look distracted. They may also be insensitive to employees' personal issues. Learning how to listen actively with compassion, respect, and without judgment is an important skill to build psychological safety in the workplace. Dr. Amy Edmondson is really the pioneer in this work and discovered how psychological safety was critical for reducing errors and improving safety in a hospital setting. Amy Edmondson defines psychological safety as the shared belief held by members of a team that it's safe for risk-taking. It's the sense of confidence that the team will not embarrass, reject, or punish someone for speaking up. I highly recommend you watch this 11-minute video by Amy Edmondson on how to build a psychological safety in the workplace. Promoting a culture of psychological safety does not mean you do not hold people accountable. If we look at psychological safety on the vertical dimension and accountability on the horizontal dimension, we see that there are 4 different zones that we can fall into. If you only create psychological safety and you don't hold people accountability, you're creating kind of a lazy comfort zone. If you have neither psychological safety or accountability, then you have complete apathy. If there is high accountability but little psychological safety, then you create the anxiety zone. But if you are able to create both psychological safety and accountability, then you can advance people into the learning zone, which is also the high performance zone. In 2012, Google embarked on a multi-year study to determine what factors were most responsible for creating high-performing teams. The code name for this initiative was Project Aristotle, and it studied hundreds of teams to determine what mattered most. Turns out it was not about what people knew, but how team members treated each other that mattered most, not talent or expertise. Conversational turn-taking and high emotional intelligence are strong components of psychological safety. But why does psychological safety matter? There are many benefits in the workplace. These benefits include increases in workplace and team effectiveness, increased cooperation, innovation, and creativity, improvement in quality and safety, enhanced employee engagement because people feel safe to speak their minds. It fosters an inclusive culture where everyone is appreciated and valued. It improves employee well-being, and it reduces turnover. So here are some practical tips and tricks on how to listen more actively. Be fully present without distractions and not focusing on how you're going to respond. Stop looking at your computer and your phone. Pay attention to the speaker's nonverbal cues, and remember, this accounts for at least 2/3 of communication. Manage your own verbal cues, such as eye contact, nodding your head in agreement, and having an open rather than a closed posture. Ask more open-ended questions to show you are interested and obtain more information. A simple one is, can you tell me more about that? Paraphrase, summarize, and reflect back to check for accuracy. Be patient, don't interrupt, and know the power of the pause. Withhold judgment on your face and in your words. This helps to make the conversation safer. So what are some practical tips and tricks to increase psychological safety in the workplace? Everyone should be practicing active listening. Encourage people to speak up and thank them for doing so, even when what you hear is not to your liking. Ask for specific feedback on how you, the leader, is doing, and model gratitude and appreciation for what you hear. Model curiosity. Ask many more questions. Frame your work as learning rather than performance, and build more trust in your team by sharing stories with each other. If you have time, break into small groups to discuss these questions over the next 15 to 20 minutes. Small groups are best kept at 4 to 6 people maximum. Please assign one person in the group to report insights learned from the small group back to the larger group when we return. What did you learn that resonated with you? What did you learn that challenged or surprised you? What suggestion might you implement for yourself and for your work setting with others? What else did you hear?